Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kier's show here. Now then, as you guys can tell by the title of this video, this is going to be what if Deku was a pilot from Titanfall? And yes, before anyone asks or puts in the comments that he is going to be getting the Titan from the game and everything like that, but it's just, I'm going to do it a certain way so it all makes sense. Now, I've actually never played this game, but it's on my list of games to buy. And, well, I kind of did that for prototype, so I'm going to have to buy the game. And check it out. Now then. So I'll make this what if, and if I ever do need to redo it, then I can figure out a good way to redo it. Now then, let us begin. Our story begins some odd 200 years ago, whenever quirks were first manifesting. Except, there has been a problem. They've noticed that a lot more people, as soon as they get their quirks because of the way things are, or just the way people are, they just like to immediately start committing crimes, thinking that just because they have power, they're someone just better than other people. So, after a major incident between the hero organization and a villain group, this is whenever the military and the government stepped in. All the governments of the world, they came under one title. And they had the idea to create a robot, or at least a version or specialized unit to deal with these situations. Since at the time quirks were just odd and weird, so you only had those occasional very strong ones. But it was at least a good idea, since a regular firearm wouldn't be able to do very much against someone who can turn their body into steel, turn their body into wood, or shoot lasers out of their eyes. So, that's where we're going to be beginning. This project, it was going to be funded and it was going to be classified as Titanfall, because of the way their very first test of these robots went. Now then, let us cut to somewhere around Izuku. Well, let's cut to Izuku Midoriya's birth. Izuku Midoriya. He is born. As soon as he is born, the doctors would notice somewhat of a rise in activity in technology around them. So, they would think that this boy just has an electricity-based quirk, but after Deku gets a bit more comfortable and actually placed into a different room, they noticed that Deku, he was getting annoyed by the light. So before a nurse could even do anything or see what was going on, the lights turned off, which kind of confused her. So she would have had to go in and keep turning them back on. Finding that the switches, well, it says that the lights are still on, but they're just not on. So she would call one of the doctors asking a question. Asking if any child here had a quirk that could do this. To which the doctor would explain that there might be a child with an electricity-based quirk. And to make sure that the children in their cribs, that there is no glass, as they would get a lot of medical staff to check, finding that there are no traces on the floor or even anywhere. Until the doctor would do one thing, walking over to the light switch, turning it off and then flicking it back on again, seeing if that would work. To his surprise, it did. Now, that is whenever Hisashi who would come by to see his son, as he would be watching the incidents occur. Now, Hisashi in this timeline, he was born quirkless, but Inko, she had somewhat of a quirk. It was, I want to say you can call it, yeah, it's telepathy in this one, not telekinesis. And let's say his dad did have a quirk. It was something to do with nanites. So you would get technopath. Now then, with that being said, they would get Deku into the quirk doctor at an early age, seeing that he was born with his quirk. Now, with that being said, let us cut to a little while later. Deku and his dad, Deku, he is around 3 to 4 years old. So around the age where he is supposed to manifest his quirk. But people would have been surprised to hear that he already has his quirk. So, he would have to explain to them more and more exactly what it does, showing that he can control technology on a small scale. To which they're not really impressed by, Bakugo calling it a useless quirk, saying that whenever his manifest, it might be better. But Deku would just say one thing: you can't really have a better quirk than mine. Everyone uses technology. As Deku would do one thing. He would just hold out his hand as he tries to focus, turning the lights off and messing with the teacher's computer, their phones, and actually doing all that. Somewhat blocking out the school, which they would have been somewhat annoyed by. And Bakugo, someone just laughing and actually just telling Deku that was actually pretty funny, since they basically got to spend the rest of the day outside. Now then, because of that, Deku and Bakugo will have somewhat of a better friendship. Now, Deku, he is talking with his dad at home. His dad is in his workshop in the garage, since they do still live in an apartment complex, but it's a bit bigger, and the garage is actually soundproofed. Now, Deku would just ask his dad exactly what is he doing, as he would see his dad just messing with a gadget and actually bringing his finger down to touch it. As his dad would just say that at his work, they kind of had a bit of a mistake. So he's trying to fix this piece of tech. It's a bit harder right now, but whenever he finds out whatever circuit board fried in this thing, it should work perfectly. His quirk, however, doesn't seem to be working. So it might be on the other side, or everything in here might be busted. As Deku would look at this piece sitting on the table. It's clearly a jump booster. As Deku's eyes would widen, asking his dad if that's for a pilot. To which his dad would just turn and proudly say yes, yes it is. A pilot was hurt on patrol, but, well, they should be okay. Besides, I didn't think you'd have your heroes be pilots. I thought your hero would be All Might. But pilots are cooler, plus my quirk works with them. Your quirk works with them. As Deku's dad comes up with an idea, asking his son if he wants to help him repair this technology. To which he would say yes. Deku actually putting his hands onto the piece and somewhat hearing it talk to him. Not actually talking to him, but Deku can basically feel and understand exactly what is wrong with this. As he would ask his dad for a wrench and his dad would hand him one. Deku just looking around at it as he would take apart 2 screws and somewhat open up a piece. As Deku's dad watches him act like he will work on this piece as if he already knows the blueprints. His dad watching him open up a port and putting his fingers in. As his dad would do one thing, grabbing him by the hand, telling him that he shouldn't do that. If you're going to do that, you need to get on some rubber gloves. To which his dad would show him. Getting Deku a piece of gloves and getting a pair of scissors, or at least a pair of pliers. As he would show his dad his dad would show him by sliding in these, and these are basically like a pair of long tongs, to where he would pull out the board and actually ask Izuku if this is the one. To which he would somewhat just stare at it for a second, and his eyes would somewhat turn a different color. As Deku would just say, I think so. As his dad would look it over, saying that that's right. It is. As he would pat his son on the head, saying that he's going to be a natural at this. As he would show him the new drive, or new board, saying that this should work perfectly then. As he would slide it in and show Deku how it works. Doing one thing, he would just say that the pilots, they usually don't care about this, but he's going to at least let him give it a shot. As he would show his son one thing. These two would walk outside, and Hisashi would just strap this thing to his belt. As he would show Deku exactly what it does. As he would do a jump boost. Jumping upwards onto the second to third story of the apartment, actually grabbing onto the cement, as he's basically clutching onto the side. He would bring a leg upwards, saying that he really shouldn't have done that. At least not that way. Note to self, decrease and modify the double jumps. Double jumps? Well, when you go a bit too high, you might as well call them something. Higher jumps just sounds a bit silly. Well, you got a point. But anyways, can I give it a shot? Oh, okay. Give me a minute. As Deku's dad would do one thing. He would pull the tech off of his belt as he would pull his belt out of his belt loop. He would show Deku how to put it on and actually get him set up to this. As he would tell Deku to be careful, and to only use the first one. To which Deku would do one thing, running forward and activating the first boost. As he sends himself upwards into the air, Hisashi, he would get ready, as he would basically run under Deku and actually catch him, telling him that that was pretty good. Now, as that happened, this is whenever Inko would walk out, asking exactly what her two boys are doing. As Deku would just hold his hands, saying that he's going to be a pilot one day. Now, while that's happening, Hisashi, he would take this back to work, and he decided to do one thing, as since it was a weekend, he asked Deku if he wanted to go with him, since it was somewhat of a bring your child to work day. So they were at least giving around and showing off free tours, since most quirkless people want to be pilots anyways, but you'll have those rare cases where if someone does have a quirk, it might not fit the job description, but they can still work as a pilot. Or if they just want to look around and see all the cool technology, they can see what they have to offer. Now, Deku, he's actually walking through as his dad would give him a tour of the museum area, as they call it. Because as soon as you walk into a building, you have a giant suit just sitting there for display. You also have what looks to be like a pilot suit, a helmet, and some old relics of the past, as they call them. As this would list one person. They would say that this helmet was used by the quirkless hero, the very first pilot to die in combat and action against someone with a quirk. The assailant was unknown and presumably caught later that day. But the piloting program was a tribute to this man. Now, that is why they consider naming the AI now put into the suits after the man, which is why they are nicknamed BTs. Now then, Deku would just turn his head asking his dad what's a BT. To which Hisashi would respond by saying that a BT is a robot. More accurately, it's basically like a computer that you can talk to. And it can actually help you. They were designed specifically after this incident, since it was considered to be such a risk to be alone in the suit. Now, because of that, Deku, he would just look over the suit as he uses his quirk. Some people are watching as Deku's eyes are glowing as he actually is squinting at it. someone looking over exactly what this robot is made for. As Deku would just turn to his dad as his quirk wears off, saying that it's kinda weird though, it's missing pieces. As a man would walk up, Deku, he would turn around and see that it's an actual pilot, as he somewhat just fanboys for seconds. The man would just say that he's actually very observant. What exactly is your quirk? Well, my quirk is... I'm sorry about that, sir. His quirk is Technopath. Ah, Mr. Midoriya. Well, if he's gonna be a Technopath, then at least he's got a good teacher then. Do you have that piece of equipment that someone asked you to repair? Oh yes, I have it right here. As his dad would just pull the bag from his back to his side, unzipping it and handing over the equipment, saying that this was actually fixed by him and his son. Although you do have to worry about the double jumps though. They do put a bit of too much strain on these devices. They are still technically not even supposed to work the way they do. Well, thank you. We'll at least keep that in mind. Now, the man would walk away as his dad would show him around the place more, showing him the weapons they used to use, the whole 9 yards. Even the other suits. Now then, after that happens, this is going to be where Deku, him and his dad would walk to the whole behind the scenes area. As Deku would see exactly what are they doing. Watching as there's a man, he's up in the cockpit doing something. There's someone on the back of the robot, there's someone on each arm, and there's 4 to 6 people around each leg. Well, there's 4 to 6 people around the entire robot's legs. So 3 for one leg. Now then. He would just say that that's pretty cool, but what exactly is going on? Well, they're working on these pieces, as Sasashi would walk over, joining some of his colleagues. As you see one of them getting really frustrated, as they don't know what is wrong with the bot. They would just say that it was working perfectly fine an hour ago, and they tried to test it earlier. So it doesn't make sense. Besides, they need to get this thing working before they have an emergency. Now, with that said, Masashi would just say that he can take a look. To which he would just walk around and see that nothing is wrong with the exterior, so he would try looking inside. As he would see the panel taken off. As it's just an entire strip of wires. Hasashi would sigh as he would just say that it would take him all day to go through each individual one. As he has an idea. He would just ask Izuku exactly how far can he try or use his quirk. Because he was able to notice missing details from the robots. Besides, he does want to be a pilot one day, so this would be a good experience. As Izuku would get so excited he would run around the robot, nearly clunking himself in the head with one of its arms. Now, as that's happening, Deku, he would just look at this panel as he's looking through them, somewhat being a bit confused as some of the doctors and the engineers are actually just watching this, asking exactly what's this kid supposed to be doing. As Sasashi would say, give him a minute. To where Deku, he would somewhat have his eyes glow for a second and immediately know what's wrong, as he would just hold his hand out, pointing at one wire, telling us that one seems to be what's wrong. You can't seriously trust the word of this kid. As Hasashi, he would just take a pair of pliers, clipping open the wire and putting in a piece of nanites, as he would close it up, saying that his son actually helped him repair a piece of tech earlier today. So, give the robot a shot now. As the guy would humor him, as he would jump upwards into the cockpit and do one thing. As he would try and get the bot to move, as the leg actually wants to start working and actually being functional, which surprises the guy. as he would hop out and apologize, saying that he shouldn't have underestimated the kid. He would do one thing, as he would hand over to Deku a small wrench, saying that this will at least get him started. He's got plenty of others, and besides, those ones are the most common. As Deku, he would just walk away. He'd be looking around, seeing that not a lot of people brought their kids. But, well, it doesn't surprise him. This is super serious. Now, Deku hears someone just talking as they keep going over one thing. As someone will walk up to Deku's dad, getting a bit mad at him, saying that he's supposed to be working on BT. Well, sir, it's just, as he wouldn't care, yelling at him saying that he's supposed to be working on it and actually getting it operational. BT malfunctioned earlier today, and they don't understand why. Now, because of that, Deku, he would just ask his dad exactly what happened to this thing. To which the man would just look down, saying that he didn't know he had a kid. Well, that's why I was a bit late today, sir. I was showing him around. Now, he would just say that that's fine, but BT is a top priority right now. So you should take your son to at least see him. Now, Deku, him and his dad would walk into another room, as they would watch this screen light up. As Deku would see a giant hologram appear, saying hello in somewhat of a corrupted voice. Now, Deku would just be surprised as his eyes go wide, saying that this is the coolest thing ever. As his dad would just tell him that that's not really true. This is BT. He's a bit broken right now. After an encounter with another villain, they don't know what happened, but he thinks that they fried his system. And whenever he got back, well, it kinda went to the main computer. Wait, so BTs are all connected? Well, yeah, we're actually trying to switch things over for now, since this happens way too often. We're basically gonna start converting to something different soon. Really? Well, that's not really good. I want my own BT though. They sound pretty cool. Hmm. Well, I mean, I do have to code a new one, so would you like to help me with that? As Deku's eyes get wider and wider with each second that passes throughout the day. As these two would return home, as Deku's dad did pick up a couple laptops, some books on coding, and other things he would need, along with basically like an entire backpack full of hard drives. As his boss would just say that this should work for him now. He needs to work on the new system for now. Anyway, guys, that is going to be where I leave things off of. I do hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, I will catch you guys in the next part tomorrow.